computer is picking up a strange signal. Here, sir, you better take a look at it.
And welcome to another episode of Life Through a Prism with your host Rob Tierney. And Merrin Thurley is back with me today. We're continuing our look at Ableism bingo and some of the phrases and comments that get made to people with a disability, and just sharing our thoughts and experiences on that. So the next one that we're looking at is, that's not a real disability. How about that, Merrin? You ever had anybody say
Oh, yes. And that's usually because they're not looking for it, only because sometimes disabilities are more or less hidden. So that if you actually say that you have some kind of disability that isn't immediately seen, people are sort of, so? Is that real? Of course it's real.
Yes. And there's a lot of disabilities that are hidden that people
true.
can't see. I personally, we have a thing in Australia called the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which in my opinion is a bit of a political hot potato, but it was set up to help people with disabilities being able to live a productive life and the services and needs that they met. But the thing is, it's very broken in its a thing because it doesn't recognise certain disabilities. And, I went for it twice and I was told that my condition that I had did not exist. That's not a real disability. With having a disability that an organisation, whatever it is, doesn't recognise it as a genuine one is very frustrating and very hurtful in a lot of ways. I know that when I was first diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, the public opinion was, in medical terms, that it was called yuppie flu, that, and it really didn't exist. So it's and there's people out there probably listening that get frustrated and have been frustrated when medical professionals or people that say that that's not a real disability. But we're here to tell you that yes, it is, and you're okay. You can do anything you put your mind to, Merrin.
Can I?
Yeah, so if you put your mind to it right now, you can see.
Wow, isn't that good? Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah, so go ahead and try.
Okay.
Oh dear.
No.
No, it doesn't work like that, does it?
No.
You can't make something happen just because, they say we don't tap into our brain as much as we have the capacity to, but that's basically asking the near impossible.
True.
Yeah. And have you ever had anyone say that to you, Merrin?
Yes, not in so many words, but yeah, if you can do anything you want. Nah. Yeah. If I wanted, I could drive a car. Hey, that'd be dangerous.
But if you put your mind to it, you might be able to.
Absolutely.
But I don't think they've come up with working on a car for people to driverless cars.
Well,
that's another.
Now that's another side issue.
Yeah.
That one.
If I had, in inverted commas, disability, I'd never go out in public.
Gee, what a boring life that'd be.
Wouldn't it ever?
That is in a way a throwaway sentence. Wouldn't you? Because you have to, because there's no way on this earth that any of us would decide not to go out in public sometime. It just can't. It just wouldn't happen. Because it wouldn't happen.
Listeners, we've got Jacob here. He's just he's joining us this afternoon,
yes,
and he's just settled down. He's had a bit of a pat, and now he's just going to have a snooze.
Yes.
The thing is though, there are some people that feel that they can't go out in public.
Oh yes, there are.
Because of their disability, and that is very sad. But it's a real thing. If you've got very bad anxiety, I've known for me that there are some times where I don't want to go out in public for whatever reason. But I've had people in the past feel ashamed being in public with me because they're associated with you as the person being disabled, that they might be your carer, and so they don't like that sort of thing being eroded into their opinions that people might have of them. What do you think about that sort of attitude?
I would say, well, the first thing I would say is, well, it's an ego thing. You can't always choose who you go out with. You can't always choose not to have. See, for people within a family, you can't choose that they're not going to have a disability, because I'm telling you now, a lot of families do. But there's no way that you can avoid it, because it's a part of being you, or being whoever they are, whatever happens. And don't forget, there's always the opportunity of an acquired injury or an acquired disability, and that's through living. Naturally, that's through living that these things happen. And what happens then? Still a very difficult one.
It is.
But it's real.
Yeah. Yes.
Whatever anybody believes or not believes, it is real.
Yeah, and I come to believe as I've gotten older, I don't have anything to do with those type of people, because it's hard enough sometimes going out in public in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because you're navigating an able-bodied world.
You sure are.
As you know. And it's just sort of, that's one less thing that, like you're with somebody who, a friend or whatever, and if they're sort of looking at you as like, well, I don't want to be recognised that I'm with you, then I don't want to have anything to do with you.
There is a phrase that I've been using for years, or something like this, and I say that you demand that I live in your world, but I don't ask you to live in mine.
Yes, it's very, very, very true.
And that's what sometimes I'll do that. I get completely angry with something and just leave that. Probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but hey.
No, it does. I think the thing is that I did this in a podcast earlier in the year where I talked about my experiences in the supermarket.
Oh, yes.
Or in the shops, and having somebody with me, and instead of them talking to me, the shop assistant talking to me, they talked to the person that was with me.
You know what I love?
What's that?
When the person who's with me says, why don't you ask them? They can tell you what they want.
Yep.
I love it. Oh.
Yeah, I have it now, so if I'm with people, they don't answer for me. They the person like that, as you're saying, they have to speak to me themselves.
Yes.
And I don't think there's much training. I don't know if there's any training out there with being able to help people with disabilities when they're dealing with the public in a shop environment or whatever, but we just want to be treated like a human being, because that is what we are. A human being first, and our disability comes along with us.
That's it.
I know someone who is actually disabled.
Oh, really?
Yes. Actually disabled. So if someone is disabled, they're not disabled, they've got to be actually disabled.
Oh, right. Okay.
So what do you think might be going through somebody's head who is saying, that comment, I know someone who is actually disabled?
It's usually where a disability is so obvious that the people who have either associated with or have been part of the family or group of the people have suddenly realised that there is something that needs to be done here,
Yep.
and it's something that looks as if they might practically be able to do something. Wow, something wonderful, because somebody actually does have a disability. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's probably not a great attitude that I'd stick my tongue out something. Sorry, tongue in cheek. Yeah.
Well, I suppose then another question that probably needs to be asked for people who make that comment is, well, what do you consider a disability to be?
Oh, that'd be a good one. I'd love to hear the answer.
I mean, going back to government departments and
Yeah.
going back to, in Australia, the National Disability Insurance Scheme.
Oh, yes, yeah.
What is classed as a disability is very different from one place to another.
Yep. Oh, yes.
And even people that we come across or talk to who have a disability, for whatever reason, they don't want to associate themselves with having a disability because it seems to be a dirty word.
It does.
And the thing is, it's one of those things that I think is we need to regain, we need to take back, that it's actually a, well, dare I say, I shouldn't say this, but a badge of honour. It's something worth, because it's part of who we are. We cannot separate our disability from ourselves. It's part of who we are.
Yes, it's interesting. And I can remember when they were still always planning for this wonderful thing called the National Insurance Scheme.
Yep.
That was what they were working towards.
Yeah.
And but don't you want to be part of that? Well, I did say by the time, but what I already know of it, I'm going to be too old to be part of it in any case. But I said I'm just wondering how the end result of all of that's going to be. I don't think it has turned out the way a lot of early people that were involved in, at least as committees and whatever else to decide, and I'm fairly sure that it hasn't turned out the way they would have expected it to.
No, it hasn't. And I mean, listeners overseas, there was a Royal Commission, 4.5 years, I think, went for on people talking about their experiences, bad experiences with the NDIS, and there's a lot of problems with these sort of things. There's a lot of money being taken that needn't be taken and all that sort of thing. So I'm just trying to generalise here without pointing any fingers at anywhere, because we're just having a discussion. But the system's broke, and the thing is like, if you are struggling to cope with having your disability, and any organisation, you are asking for help for, turns around and says, well, you're not disabled, you don't have X, Y and Z, it makes it it just puts that extra layer of stress and anxiety that we just don't need. Wish I could get paid by the government to do nothing. So, Merrin, you do nothing.
No, don't do anything. No.
You sit around all day.
That's right. Do nothing.
Do nothing.
Yep.
And just wait for the government paychecks to roll in.
That's it.
Where do you think people's thoughts come from with that sort of thing?
I do wonder sometimes, but I suppose it comes from there seems to be an endless supply of this money that's we can just go and get a handful of or whatever. It's as easy, but it isn't as easy as all of that. And I do believe that people have a false idea of what it is really meant to do, and I really wonder about that sometimes. And then you get one side of just the people with the disability, so-called disability, on one side, and the other side is the people who want to see this as a chance of a sort of almost almost a thing of getting money, with no comeback, no consequences, no everything else. So you don't have to pay it back.
Yep. So,
Well,
so you're sort of saying, so are you sort of saying that for the people that are genuine,
Yep.
that have a genuine disability,
Yep.
the people that wrought the system,
yes,
make us who are genuinely in need, gives us a bad name.
yes, that is closest to what I would consider. Yep. I mean that. I honestly don't know what the right answer to that is. Well, all I do know is that it hasn't sort of gone the way that it was expected to. And I think that's probably sad. And some people who really have desperately needed it haven't been able to get it.
Yes, and I know, and this is going back to 1993.
Goodness me, yes.
When I was told that it's no good you looking for work because no one will employ you because of your chronic fatigue. What do you do then? It's sort of like, and then you've got to prove to whoever is assessing you that you're not well.
Yeah.
So therefore, can send you on a bit of a spiral. But the thing is, it's not easy. It's not like, oh well, I'm just going to ring up now and I'm going to get money from the government to support me. I mean, it's only it's enough to get by or just get by and pay bills and stuff like that. It's not like we just sit there and do nothing because we want to contribute to society.
That's true. That's what you have a right to do.
Yes, and it's all it really is ever been is a safety net.
Yep.
And then there's the other conversation about people wanting to try and look for work, but then if they earn too much, there's all that.
Oh, all of these little sidetracks, all of this.
Yes.
And they really, if you're not aware of them all, I mean, it's easy enough to fall into a trap of trying to, hoping to and trying to do something and not being able to, which in some cases, of course, is people very, very much
Yes, yeah.
Behind the eight ball.
Yeah, and I think we've lost a lot of people because of society's view that we sit and do nothing or you can't see it, so therefore it's not there. I can't see it, I don't believe it. But it's very sad. But the whole thing is that being able to talk about these things, I think, is a start to be able to have conversations on these things, which sometimes are not easy. I mean, we may be a little bit lighthearted about this, but the thing is these things are real, and if we don't talk about them, I mean, if the disabled people don't keep talking about it, then the rest of the community are not really ready to listen. We've got to run the agenda. We've got to say, hey, listen, this is we're here, which is really sad because we've got to make all the noise.
Yes, for the elephant in the room.
Yes. Are you really going to let this define you?
Oh boy. No. Fortunately, I haven't come across that one. But it's not to say that it doesn't happen to other people. That people may ask this particular question. Define me? Well, sometimes it's a matter of defining who I am. This is determined if, and by knowing me and by all of that they're able to help somebody else. And that's part of the defining process. And well, it always makes you feel a little bit better if it, I don't know really whether it does or it doesn't, but hey, I'm probably giving somebody else a hand that's probably in a worse position than I am myself.
Yes, but it's all still very relevant.
Oh, yes.
Because what you're going through, it's all relevant because what you're going through is just as important as what somebody else is going through. And I think sometimes we in the disabled community forget that because we're always told, oh, there's somebody worse off than you are. You can do X, Y, and Z, but there's other people that can't. But they call that the imposter syndrome, Joker syndrome, where you think that your condition and what you're going through, you shouldn't be concerned about it because someone over there is worse off. What you're going through is relevant, genuine, and you are experiencing it. So when someone says, are you really going to let this define you? I find over the years it's been a real tug of war. There are times where I have the chronic fatigue has taken centre stage and it has controlled my life, and it said, right, well, all you're going to be is somebody that's not going to be able to do much. And then I've tried to, through different ways and avenues, claw that back to where, no, I'm a person, I have value, I can contribute. So for me, there's this, when I'm not feeling well, there's this struggle that goes on. And I think sometimes when we're struggling to find help and support, we're struggling more than what we need to, because we may feel like that we're not being accepted. So therefore we've got to look like we're okay when we're actually not. We've almost got to give ourselves permission to say, okay, well, this is who I am, and I'm having a bad day today, and it is real. I am really going through this.
Yeah, and when you think about it, I've just had the thought that everybody, whether it's a disability or not, everybody's got some kind of hang-up that takes them through life, and to be with them through life, and not always able to be explained away. And I've been thinking about that. But if we're all the same, I don't suppose it would be very boring. Just knowing other people that have a different way of life in one way or another is better than not knowing a lot of people and thinking them was all the same. What boring that would be.
Yes, it would be very boring. There'd be no colour in that. Do you think that advertising, society is like, if you buy this vitamin, if you buy this piece of clothing, if you buy this piece of equipment, it's going to make you better. You really need this, you really need that. Do you think that plays, even in the disability community, if I had this or if I could do that, I would be, almost looking at someone else and saying, well, if I had that, then I would be a lot better than what I am.
That's an interesting one, because you can think that way sometimes, and it's the way it's been presented to you sometimes. Is hey, this is going to really do it for you, and you'll be able to do ever so much X, Y, Z, and well beyond. If you have this piece of equipment or whatever, this is particular T-shirt, whatever it might be, but that's not really being very realistic in terms of anybody, in fact, can do it the same way. I mean, I sit listening to a lot of advertising for things, and I think to myself, I wonder if it really does work. And I really wonder if the people on the screen over here are they really, or are they glamour people that they've got in there to sell the products?
Paid actors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the, some of these adverts where you see like someone dressed up as a pilot. Well, they're not actually a pilot; they're an actor.
Quite true.
So yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's sort of like I think it's a lifetime thing of being comfortable with who you are. Oh yes, in your own skin, comfortable in your own skin. And sometimes, we do let things define us, but I think the thing is like it's a continual struggle. Yeah. Enjoying the good days, and then, sometimes I have to really laugh at some of the things. Like if, you go into a pharmacy and there's all these vitamins and minerals and all that. We should be the fittest, wellest, bestest people in the whole world, but we're not, because we're told, well, if you have this, you've got to have the next thing to make you even better. And I think we can all get caught up in that, whether we've got a disability or not. Yep,
I reckon people do.
Money makes the world go round.
So they say.
So the last one, as we're coming to the end of this conversation, you shouldn't focus on your condition so much. Well, so it's very similar to, are you going to to let this define you.
Yes.
But I think the thing is, there's a defining in this one, and focusing, like, staring at your belly button all the time.
Yep.
You know, Maren, you should stop focusing on the fact that you're blind.
Oh, really? Oh.
Which is a bit of a pun there, not
Just a bit of
meaning to be intended.
Yes, that's true. Oh, dear. Oh. Yes, well, there's another one for the ego and the imagination, really. I'm not going to be able to do anything about, well, actually, if you needed me to prove it, I could, but I won't.
No.
But that is another, being focusing on yourself too much. I think it's not, should I say, it's not something that, other people don't do. And guess what? They don't even have to have a disability to do it. Yeah, their own, well, and in the end, I suppose, in the end result of all of that is what comes up in the wash. Do people really believe that if this, like, it's been, wow, you go and have a little bit of surgery, a better pair of glasses, or whatever. Hey, that means you won't need this anymore. You'll be able to do as much as you can. Yeah, and hey, if you got those eyes you've just got a new pair of, and talking here about artificial prosthetics.
Yep.
People who are intelligent, supposedly, ask me, and probably ask other people if they can actually see out of them. Oh boy. And all I can do is nearly laugh sometimes. They're funny.
They're focusing on you, not you focusing on you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
You're not the one going, well, I've got prosthetic eyes, you're not,
Yeah. And I stick these things in my ears.
Yeah. No, you don't stick your prosthetic eyes in your ears.
No.
Just listeners, just in case.
Oh.
Just in case. No, it's her hearing aid she's talking about.
It is indeed.
I think the other side of it too is that if we were to dismiss our condition,
Yes.
our disability, outright,
Yep.
we're then falling in a trap ourselves. Can fall into a trap that if we ignore it, we're told if we ignore it, it will go away. If we don't think about it, the thing is, well, if you don't think about it, your mind won't play the record over and over again. I think that people, anybody, can fall into issues there, because they can get very dangerous, because if you don't, we're always told, if something starts not to feel right in your body, then we need to do something about it.
Yes.
Pushing it aside isn't going to do any good. And I think the thing is if we stop focus, there are times where I can speak for myself, the body is saying, you're going to focus on me right now, because, otherwise you're not going to be able to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I think it's just common sense. It's not this, I don't think it's this navel gazing, because we can all navel gaze when we get to a point, and look for belly button lint, when we're not coping. But I think the thing is that, we need to be real, relevant, and just being honest to ourselves, which sometimes is not always easy. No,
it's hard work sometimes. And it can be stressful.
Yes.
And that's, you don't want to put yourself under that. That's a too heavy a load to carry.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. So, Maren, we've gone through and we've looked at all sorts of things for being, you're such an inspiration, there's nothing wrong with you, you shouldn't navel gaze, I wish I could get paid by the government for doing nothing.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it seems, my friend.
No. Do you think that there ever will be a day where we will have to stop, like, picking away, like, a little tiny pick on a mountain, to be able for us not to have these conversations?
I'd love to think it would. And over the years, I was hoping that would actually be the truth, but it is not. There will always be the situations where people will be have various kinds of disabilities, and it never will be that whatever you have a problem with, it will be managed within the life where everything becomes accessible. I did hope it once, but yeah, well, you and I know it's never going to happen.
No, it's getting harder and harder.
So there'll always have to be somebody looking out for you.
Yeah, and there's I think the thing is, in starting to wrap up, is I think we need to look at the positives, what we can achieve, what we do achieve.
Yep.
Because there's the other thing we're told, you don't want to get too proud of yourself. You're an inspiration, but you don't want to. You can be an inspiration. That's fine, but don't go getting ahead of yourself. Because you can't have that.
Yes, on the other side of that is you need to be listened to too.
Yeah. Yes.
I think the people don't listen sometimes.
What do you think the reason is for that with people with disability? What is the reason, do you think, that they do they not want to listen, or is it that they don't cope with listening to us?
I think there's one phrase here that might be, if you can't imagine it, you won't understand it. And that is, for some people, they cannot imagine what it is like to be. And unfortunately, that's also true in a lot of other situations besides disability.
Yes.
And that's the sad part of it.
It is. Yeah. Well, Mary,
yes,
we've come to the end of our bingo card. And I'm sure, listeners, you've gotten yourself a few you've ticked off there. But all through that, we just wanted to encourage you, because the thing is that there's a lot of things that society says and we say to ourselves and about ourselves. But the thing is, we're still here. We're still fighting, because we have to fight. But the thing is, we do the best that we can. Enjoy our little victories. To finish off, Mary, would you like to have the last word? Well,
the last word, something as interesting and as far-reaching as our conversations have been. Hey, that had better be an ideal world. Let us hope that there are people within the world that we do inhabit who have the far-reaching brains, the far more intelligent, the scientific brain. Maybe that there is a way, but you and I don't know that yet. It is up to whatever the future is. They'll probably give us the answer. But I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow. Or next week.
Or next week or next year.
No.
Let's hopefully...
It'll happen when it does.
Well, listeners, that's it for this episode and for our Ableism Bingo. Till next time, take care and bye for now.